Hello viewers, today we're going to take a look at 12 weapons that changed the world. Number 12, the bone. We don't know exactly when and where this went down, but we all know it happened. Two cavemen had a dispute that led to violence. One caveman wrapped his brand new shiny thumbs around a bone, stick, or a sharp rock and discovered that the damage he could now inflict on his fellow man increased exponentially. No longer would combat be restricted to teeth, claws, fists, and feet. The age of weapon had begun. Number 11. The Greek phalanx. Technically, the phalanx is the formation. The individual soldiers were armed with a long and heavy spear and a shield, but a phalanx is most notable for being greater than the sum of its parts. The Greek soldiers would stand in rigid formation, their shields interlocked to protect not just themselves, but perhaps most importantly, the man to their left. The phalanx conquered the Mediterranean by moving as a single unstoppable armored unit. It was in many ways the tank of its day. Number 10. The gladius. Roman legionary sword. If the Greeks mastered uniformity of the movement, the Romans mastered standardization of equipment. The short-bladed gladius made up part of the arsenal of every legion, along with a shield, short-throwing spear, and a dagger. By ensuring that every soldier had well-made equipment usable in a variety of situations, the Roman created an empire that, at its peak, stretched from England to North Africa, from the tip of Iberian Peninsula to the Middle East. Number 9. English longbow. Though records of the longbow are found as early as 7th century, its status as a game changer is primarily based on its usage in several battlefields during 100 Years' War. The British simply stood to the side and said, instead charging over there and fighting, why don't we just shoot them? Ranged weaponry may have long predated the longbow, but the bow size gave it the power to punch through the armor. Slowly but surely, the age of hand-to-hand combat was drawing to a close. Number 8. Mysorean rockets. These were an Indian military weapon, the first iron-cased rocket successfully deployed for military use. The Mysorean army under Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan used the rockets effectively against the British East India Company during 1780s and the 1790s. Their conflicts with the company exposed the British to this technology, which was then used to advance European rocketry with the development of Congreve rocket in 1805. There were regular rocket corps in Mysorean army beginning with about 1200 men in Hyder Ali's time. During the Second Anglo-Mysore War, Colonel William Bailey's ammunition stores are thought to have been detonated by a hit from one of Hyder Ali's rockets at the Battle of Polilur in 1780, which contributed to British defeat in the battle. Number 7. Rifled barrel. The Chinese might have invented gunpowder and the British might have built an empire on the musket, but it was the invention of the rifle barrel and the mini ball style bullet that made gunfights truly deadly. A pre-rifling musket was a highly inaccurate weapon where the odds of hitting your target had about as much to do with the luck as skill. By rifling the barrel and using bullets fitted to this barrel, gun manufacturers were able to produce a product that was deadly as well as accurate. The American Civil War was the proving ground for this invention. Number 6. Colt revolver. Rolling out with the advertising slogan, God made all men, but Samuel Colt made them equal. The Colt revolver has since become one of the primary symbols of the settlement of the American West. With its revolutionary revolving chamber, it was able to fire 6 shots without reloading, where most infantry rifles required reloading after each shot. Additionally, its relatively small size made it usable by women, children, and really anyone who could lift it. For better or worse, the days of high-capacity, rapid-fire, handheld weapons were upon us. Number 5. Belt-fed machine gun. Though Richard Gatling's Gatling gun is probably the early machine gun that most think of, it wasn't until World War I that full tactical and psychological impact of the machine gun was felt. In the brutal trench warfare that covered the European continent, weapons such as British Vickers, German MG08, French Saint-Étienne put the power of entire firing squad into one man's trigger finger. Entire squadrons could be wiped out with one squeeze. It was the longbow revolution for the industrial age, as well as the end of soldiers marching to battle in formations. Number 4. Tanks. If the machine gun was the longbow, the tank was its knight in armor. A big metal box on treads, the tank could go anywhere and shrug off gunfire like any annoying mosquito. Constructed on an assembly line and driven by gasoline, it was warfare via the Industrial Revolution. The German Panzer rose to infamy as its ability to move fast and strike hard fueled the Blitzkrieg, while the durable M4 Sherman enabled the Allied forces to march to victory across North Africa and eventually into the European theater of war. Mao Zedong famously said, "Change must come through the barrel of a gun." Without question, the gun that symbolized change for the 20th century was the AK-47, technically called the Automat Kalashnikova 47. The AK was everything its American counterpart, the M16, was not. Cheap, easy to manufacture, reliable and accurate, and it didn't hurt that it just looked cooler. The AK became the standard weapon of USSR, China, and all of the Warsaw Pact nations. The ease with which it could be manufactured and its reliability in multiple weather types also made it a gun of choice for the various Cold War revolutions. Hollywood also did their part, preferring its curved clip and natural wood stock to more boxy and matte black M16. Number 2. Atomic bomb. Upon seeing the successful test of the A-bomb, J. Robert Oppenheimer, one of the key minds behind the development of the atomic bomb, recalled the line from Bhagavad Gita, "I am become death, the destroyer of worlds," and so he did. Though easily the least used weapon on this list, it was without a doubt the weapon that shaped all of post-World War II politics in the 20th century. Even before the bomb, World War II had made it clear that there was no longer something that happened to soldiers on a battlefield. Instead, it was something that happened to everyone, and that was never clearer than when 2 Japanese cities were nearly totally destroyed simply by dropping a hunk of metal from the sky. Number 1. Drones. The Romans introduced manufacturing to warfare. The longbow brought distance and gunpowder brought power. The machine gun removed effort from the equation, but the drones take the final step in the dehumanization of warfare. You don't even have to be there, and it probably takes less engagement than a spirited round of Call of Duty.